Rey Mysterio is one of the most decorated professional wrestlers in WWE history, earning an induction into the WWE Hall of Fame at WrestleMania 39. However, when it comes to certain runs in Rey Mysterio's career, many fans believe that it questioned reality for Rey Mysterio to win the World Heavyweight Championship. Join us now as Roz Ginger asks, should WWE erase Rey Mysterio?
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Raw is Ginger. And tonight I'm joined by John, as usual, and we have Andrew Durning back tonight. So, guys, how are you?
My butt hurts. For anybody that is, well, you'll all be unaware. I had some. It's not anything weird. Well, weirder than usual.
Was it more than one finger she put up your ass? Or?
I'd say about 4 if it's hurting that much.
Well, if it's not more than 4, you're not doing it right.
That's why you've got a sore ass.
And this channel's instantly demonetized.
You can edit that out, can't you?
Yeah, but I'm keeping it in. That's what she said.
Yeah. Again, hence why you're in the position you're in.
For clarity, the last time that I was on this, I wasn't well, and I was meant to be going out for my anniversary. I finally got to go out for my anniversary meal, and the meal did not agree with me. And I have spent basically the last 2 hours like shitting in a bucket. And it's beyond the 1 minute mark now, so we don't need to worry about getting demonetized for the swearing. We're all good. But yeah, it's a parenting level I didn't think I could actually hit, where like your kids going to the toilet, they don't know how long they're gonna be, and you're like I cannot hold, so you're just running, grabbing the first thing that you can, and then it's just evacuate. But on that pleasant note, we're actually diving into the next episode of Should WWE Erase. This is the first one, was very heavy and controversial, as we talked about Chris Benoit. Again, thank you, Debbie Stephen, for guesting on that one. We thought we'd take a slightly lighter approach to this one, because it's a wrestler that doesn't have a lot of controversies in their locker as far as we know, but it's someone that we know Toner just fucking hates. So we thought, let's throw this one in, and we're going to ask, should WWE erase Rey Mysterio? Now, there's been quite a few like pushback videos because we've had so much great content at the minute. So I actually don't think a lot of people have heard what your thoughts were about Mysterio getting into the Hall of Fame. And this will probably be the next video out, so they still won't have heard it. So you might as well recap on what you think of that, Toner, while we just watch the carnage unfold.
Well, I mean, it's absolute fitting that you came on this podcast talking about shite. Because absolutely fucking ridiculous. I mean, what's he done other than getting put in spots that he had no reason to fucking be in? Nothing at all he should have been there for. Right? Taking stuff away from guys that could properly, legitimately challenge in their matches, and he's fucking winning them. Why? So they can fucking push out to the fucking markets for fucking him. Lot of pish. Absolute pile of shite. Wanting to fucking win over fucking different markets to push him, and he's pish. He has no charisma in the microphone. Even when you listen to him, he sounds like a fucking 12-year-old boy that's getting into trouble for his mum. He's he's got 2 moves. Other than that, he just runs about the fucking ring for 15 minutes, jumping. That's it. And he's going against like fucking the Big Show, right? 7 feet. In reality, he gets splattered. Yeah, they get down the whole David and Goliath route, but do you know something? At the end of the fucking day, he's been slaughtered. And they put all this on it. Why? He pushes all these other folk out the way to get runs. Undeserved. I think he's a, you know, and this is the thing, right? It's at heavyweight. See, if he was doing all this at cruiserweight, I'd be like, right, cool, that's his weight category. But it's at heavyweight. He's got absolute no business being at heavyweight.
We'll still follow the format of what we did with the Chris Benoit one. Obviously, this is just taking a little bit more of a parody turn. We'll go for the pros, which is basically going to be me and Kev. The cons, you'll get your turn, which will be like you just railroading the guy, and then we'll have a kind of conclusion at the end of should WWE erase. So a little bit of history into Rey Mysterio. His birth name Oscar Gutierrez, born on December 11th, 1964, in California, suburb of San Diego. Chula Vista is where it was, and he still lives there. His early career, kind of usual roots, really. He was in AAA, he was in Lucha Libre, he was in Extreme Championship Wrestling, then World Championship Wrestling, and then he's currently on. He went to the independent circuit in Puerto Rico, in the gap between WCW, going under, and going to sign for WWE. So that was 2001, 2002. And he has been at WWE since 2002 and has remained there at the time of this recording, 2023. He has several titles under his reign, one of which, as Tony has mentioned, the World Heavyweight Championship, where he won the Royal Rumble, and it was the storyline of build it around, it's dedicated to Eddie Guerrero and all that stuff. He now has his son Dominic Mysterio in the wrestling, and in fairness, since Dominic turned heel, he's actually been on quite a flyer, pardon the pun, lately. His heel work.
Jump in, I have no issues. I have no issues with Dominic Mysterio.
I thought you wouldn't, but in fairness, his mic work has gotten really good since he turned heel and joined the Judgment Day. The whole kind of kayfabe thing with Rhea Ripley has really elevated his game. His match against Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania 39 was a highlight for quite a lot of people. Obviously, we'll find out Toner's take on that later on. Even the kayfabe, when Rey Mysterio was inducted in the Hall of Fame 2023, and kayfabe, Dominic and Rhea Ripley left the ceremony, which was something that I didn't think that they would have the balls to do, even in kayfabe. But they done it, and it worked out well for forwarding the story and stuff. So, got to give props to Dominic for committing to that part, because as a kid, you want to see your dad with something like that. It would have been heartbreaking for him.
No.
You'll get your turn. And he's still, for his age, he's still putting in a shift. Much better than I could fucking do by a country mile. He can, because you said he can do, all he does is a couple of jumps. And it's I can barely even jump a centimeter off the ground without thinking I've shot myself. And that was just today.
How big was that bucket?
There was about 6 or 7 waterfalls for filling up a kid's swimming pool. A kid's wee paddling pool. Because that's what we used it for previously.
Not again.
Never again. A lot. Harpic, Domestos, burn it to death. It's not happening again. But yeah. So, and he's had quite a lot of, Mysterio's had a lot of notable feuds. Me first tag team with his son, and then obviously the feud with Judgment Day at the moment. He's part of Latino World Order. He did have a feud with the Latino World Order in WCW. He's been a US champion. He's been in New Japan Pro Wrestling. I said World Heavyweight Champion, Intercontinental Champion. Had various storylines with the likes of Randy Orton, Booker T. Especially during his Ace King Booker, which was one of Booker T's most acclaimed ones. So he's Great Khali was just hilarious, in my opinion. It's absolutely hilarious. And even I was like, dude, come on. And I think one of the infamous ones that I remember was with Brock Lesnar, where he just basically just flung him off a ring post and stuff, and he was just totally destroying him. And then there's that guy in there where we're like, come on. You go for a shorter guy, then you go for a guy with a man leg. That's nah. But my opinion on Rey Mysterio is slightly overhyped in terms of his style. I don't discredit his work, but I think there was a bit too much hype around him, and they've just basically used him as a vessel to carry on Eddie Guerrero because he passed away so soon. And I don't think that's fair on Rey. Doesn't feel like he's really escaped that shadow. Like when they were tag team partners, and when they were and then rivals with the infamous, ladder match to decide custody of Dominic. Well, I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed the ridiculousness of those storylines, and their chemistry was really good, but it just felt like kind of after that, it was, everything is going to be, we'll just use Eddie to get at you for everything. Even his feud with Randy Orton. Orton's admitted in several interviews and several shoots that he absolutely hated doing that. Well, but he was just basically forced to do it. Well, but afterwards, he actually went to Eddie Guerrero's grave and cried, and apologized. And I was like, "What the hell? I have to do that? Just don't understand it." But that's what it is. Okay, what do you think of Mysterio?
Well, I've enjoyed the majority of stuff, but I have to agree with Toner about the heavyweight stuff. There was no need or reason for him to be in the heavyweight picture. He can hold his own mid card in the tag division perfectly well, but when it got to that high level, they were pushing him because, like you said, they didn't have Eddie Guerrero there.
Hmm.
And they needed somebody that was like a Latino because that's what they were pushing.
Hmm.
And then with the whole thing about bringing him in to be that character, it doesn't work.
Yeah. Yeah, I can understand it, but at the same time, there was no viable Latino option. I mean, realistically, would Chavo Guerrero have been any better?
No. They should have just pushed somebody else to that level. They had a lot of people that were there at that time that could have took the title and ran with it then. I mean, they still had Kurt Angle for a wee bit.
Yeah.
So they could have put the belt on him until somebody else get built up before he left because of the painkillers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But they had their Booker T's, they had Batista, they had Randy Orton, they had Edge. So it's not like they didn't have these names. I mean, this is when JBL was becoming the JBL character.
Yeah.
They could have put the belt on him earlier.
Yeah, and Cena broke out at that point as well.
Exactly. So it's not like they didn't have the people there to run with it.
Yeah.
I had nothing bad to say about Rey Mysterio stuff, but when they're putting him in matches against Big Show, Brock Lesnar, even Batista, it's like it's not real. We know that, but still, they're going to get destroyed. They're being that size, and they go up against that.
Just to clarify, how long did Mysterio have the heavyweight championship?
I don't think it was too long.
Yeah, because he won it at WrestleMania. But just trying to think. I know he'd won. He obviously won at their cruiserweight at the time. Because it says the Fountain of Knowledge Wikipedia has him marked on and off as world heavyweight champion from 2005 to 2007.
Mm-hmm.
And it's quite a long time for someone that's not at that kind of in that class. And some of the ones that were in that time: Randy Orton, Batista, Bobby Lashley, JBL, Shawn Michaels, Kane, Big Show, Carlito, Chris Masters. They were all kind of guys that were, bigger guys. I mean, even Mark Henry. I know he wasn't he took a long time to kind of to become, the competent wrestler that we knew he could be, but he was still, around at that point. Let's see, it was you got a title shot for the World Heavyweight Championship, WrestleMania 22.
Mm-hmm.
That was a triple threat match.
Yep, between Randy Orton, Rey Mysterio, and then champion Kurt Angle. And Mysterio pinned Orton to become the World Heavyweight Champion. And he was billed as an underdog champion. And he retains for, let's just see how long?
3 months.
3 months. Yep. And he was defeated by Mark Henry and Great Khali in separate non-title matches before wrestling Kane to a no contest. Retained against JBL Judgment Day. What else? Just having a look about. Yeah, and then you had obviously the whole ECW One Night Stand.
Well, remember he won the WWE Championship in Raw on the 8-man match, and then lost it the same night.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
right.
Yeah, I remember that. Well, I remember that one as well. But I mean, in fairness, that one I could kind of understand for, it being Cena. Well, if it was a case of you win it, well done, hey, and then wham, that's you. Because a lot of people have lost titles in those circumstances. But yeah, it's when you look at the names, especially when I was looking at it there, for the ones that were there between 2005 and 2007, you are right. Realistically, he should not win.
No.
Well, realistically, he should get his ass kicked. And everybody says, bigger they are, harder they fall, David versus Goliath, all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, wrestling, we all know it's scripted, and you do need to lose a little bit of, belief. But if it took him 3 months to lose title, you said, Kev?
Yeah.
When do you realistically think he should have dropped it? Do you think that was too late? Do you think it was too soon?
It should have been the next month. They should have built someone up in that month as the ultimate heel to come out and just devastate him.
Do you think maybe they were too afraid to do that because of maybe the Guerrero backlash?
They were. They at that point in time, there was a lot of things going on, and they didn't want to rock the boat, especially with the whole Chris Benoit thing as well had happened. And it's what's going on? So they're under scrutiny because of all the things that came out about Chris Benoit. It's we need to check everybody for drugs again, which is a lot of people were out because of the wellness policy that they enforced. And it's true. There was still so many people that were there that weren't away because of the wellness policy. I mean, Jeff Hardy disappeared for a couple of weeks. Rob Van Dam disappeared for a couple of weeks. Randy Orton disappeared for a couple of weeks. But that was just so that when they came back, they could do their test and it'd be clear, so they could have them back.
Yeah, because the wellness policy was in probably some ways still is a complete joke. People can get around it. I mean, look at Matt Riddle.
Yeah.
Matt Riddle is like today's RVD, except he's just a ball bag. I absolutely hate him. Well, I just don't like him at all. Guy can fight like fuck. He's got the skill, but for a professional wrestling, he's just shite. Utter shite. I have that
RVD light.
I have that same rage for Matt Riddle that Toner has for Rey Mysterio. I have that same type of rage, because he just seems like a cocky, arrogant douche nozzle, and I just would love to just see someone. I'd love to see Brock Lesnar beat the holy hell out of him for real. Well, I would pay to get those two in an octagon. There's this murder, and just watch Lesnar destroy him. But that's the kind of the. I mean, that's the positives I would say for Ray. Like he's had a very long run in wrestling, longer than most people. Has kept his nose clean for what we've heard.
I mean, apart from that guy that he killed.
Yeah, but that wasn't his nose. Well, I mean, the guy that killed Will, yeah, that's what we'll lead into with Toner's argument next. But over the course, there's been not much to say about Ray, because it's just been, I know it's a bit of a low hanging joke, but he has literally kept his head down. Well, and he just got on with it. So fair play to him. Well, let's move into the bad points. And Toner, you have kept your tongue sheathed. I am very, very impressed. And now I'm also very, very scared because I'm about to let you loose.
Before we even get into the guy killed, bear in mind, he has also failed wellness policies. Bear in mind, he was also one of the 17 athletes that the doctor who had been prescribing Benoit's medication, Mysterio's name was on that because he was getting unlawful prescription medication from him. Argued that he hadn't been taking steroids. I mean, fucking look at him. Of course he has. Right, but we can say that probably about 99% of the fucking roster.
At least.
And but you look and you go, he's not as clean cut as what is believed, because again, they've built this character that he's a clean cut guy. Yeah, I've got fair play to the length of time he's been in the industry, because a lot of bigger stars and a lot of, in my opinion, better wrestlers didn't last that length of pace and couldn't come back and do what he's doing. But it's fucking ridiculous. I mean, I would argue the point it was not kayfabe at the Hall of Fame. Even his son went, it's fucking undeserved, man. I'm away. That's embarrassing. You're standing up there all proud of that. Proud of doing what? Absolute shit. I mean, the runs he had, yeah, do you know what? I get there's times where you want to put the title on an underdog. You want to have that whole underdog storyline. Mankind was the believable underdog storyline that went in and won that title and was fully deserved. Rey Mysterio got it for, in one hand, because Eddie, and in the other hand, to continue pushing in the Latino market. They needed a face for that market, and it happened for him to be right place, right time.
Yeah.
In my opinion, that could have been a whole host of people, but he was in the right place at the right time. So because it's all about money, it's all about advertisement, it's all about breaking into different countries and what you can achieve merchandise-wise and everything else in other countries. So in order to do that, you have to then push somebody from that country in order to get the fans back and to get them behind it. So Ray was the right place, right time, but in believability, fucking no chance. I think he's a country mile away from what he should have been.
So glad you said country there.
As I've always argued the point, though, like, cruiserweight would never have an issue with it. I think, and I'm being honest here, I think he is a bang average cruiserweight. When you think about historically, and before the Attitude Era and the Attitude Era and since, I think there has been far better cruiserweights came through than Rey Mysterio.
Do you think Matt Hardy was a better cruiserweight? Because Matt Hardy might win the cruiserweight off him.
100%. And I think, and this is the thing, it's not just doing this, because he's a better range. Matt Hardy could stand and go toe-to-toe with somebody. He could have a brawl. He had a better move selection. I feel he was better at improvising for moves and creating new things.
He was more charismatic on the mic. As much as like some things I could be like, yeah, I don't really agree with you on certain things. I do agree that Mysterio's mic work, it has got better, but is not strong. He makes up for it by, like, his athleticism.
Yeah, I mean, his mic works better. That's like saying my gran had a stroke and she can now lift her hand a wee bit. Doesn't fucking matter. It's of no use.
Oh my god! Yep, here we go. Here we go.
But if you think about it, though, he debuted in the 80s,
Mm.
and it's only like in the past like 5 years that his mic works progressed to a level that's like professional.
Do you think that was maybe more that he didn't get a lot of time on the mic when he started? Because let's face it, like, the wrestling was one of the most racist places in any type of sport, questionably. It's like they never really, unless you had some sort of gimmick or some sort of charisma, like Guerrero, basically. Like, he had the charisma on the mic and looked, no disrespect to him because I loved Guerrero, but he looked white enough that he could get away with it. Whereas, like, Mysterio it was Latino. We don't like Latinos. Well, they're going to take our jobs, kind of thing. And that's the way a lot of the guys thought. They thought that these cruiserweights were coming in and they were going to take their place in the card. WCW was a prime example of that.
Well, I disagree with that because it was WCW that started like the cruiserweight revolution.
Yeah, but you can start a revolution, but whether it pays off or not, it's a different story. Like, the guys at the top were still Hogan, Hall, Nash. Well, all big guys that were like, yeah, we can bring them in. We'll give them a shot, but they ain't going to get any further. Again, like, and if you were a smaller guy in height, like, for example, Guerrero, Benoit, Jericho, that was like, you ain't getting it, you ain't challenging us because it'll be a joke. And look at how those guys did, aside from what. But if you look at it in wrestling careers wise and their titles won, Jericho was one of the most successful, obviously, because, well, spoiler alert, he lived longer. But Guerrero and Benoit proved that, smaller guys could cut it. I felt bad for Malenko because he was probably the most gifted out of them all, but he had the personality of a muted horse.
Yeah, but with the cruiserweights coming into WCW, the Monday Night Wars, you watched the lines, the start of the shows were all the cruiserweights and the mid-carders. That's when people would watch WCW. See, when it became like halfway through, when the NWO started coming on, that's when they would switch to WWE. If you look at all the numbers, they were watching these matches. Yeah. And then WWE were watching that and going, we need to get these guys. So that's why they brought in Eddie Guerrero, Chris Jericho, and all the people who were having their matches watched. And then the whole thing with Mankind saying, oh, they're putting the belt on Mick Foley. And then everybody changed. Nobody watched WCW at all that night because I want to see the full show. Yeah. Because there'll be the story all the way through. But
everybody talks about like turning point moments, like, in certain things. When I think for WCW, that was the turning point when they started going down, because they just went, oh, good luck to Mick Foley, who's just won the World Heavyweight, and everybody went, what? Because they didn't expect the reaction. They just thought, oh my god, they were thinking they're gonna go, oh my god, that guy really with a weird mask or whatever, not realizing how beloved Mick Foley actually was. And it just totally backfired on them. I think that was the true downfall. I don't think even like the losing their streak of ratings wins was the downfall. I think it was that. I think that's the turning point for me. And something that I was kind of wanting to ask you about, Toner, is that we were talking there about the cruiserweight stuff. Rey Mysterio could be a dab hand in a cruiserweight role. Other ones that have done the cruiserweights, for example, Jeff Hardy, also went on to be viable world heavyweight title contenders. So do you think it is just purely because Rey Mysterio, for lack of better terms, is vertically challenged compared to, guys like Jeff? Because Matt could have realistically been in the world heavyweight scene as well, especially as he got into his broken Matt Hardy kind of phase.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's going to have a lot to do with it because, look, I mean, legitimately, in that kind of industry and in the way that it works, it's not like a UFC cage fight where, one punch from the smaller guy can still knock the bigger guy out. yeah, I get that this is scripted and there's move ranges in it. And now, in this, you're expecting you're going to pick guys up, you're going to fucking run them over the ring, you're going to be suplexing, doing this, doing that. It's just not legitimate that he's able to hang it consistently with guys such as, Big Show, Taker, Kane, all those guys back in the day that we're kicking about. And even now, would you genuinely, as fans, say that you could imagine Rey Mysterio dethroning Reigns?
No.
Then again, who could we realistically imagine could dethrone Reigns? Because there's been so up until very recently,
point, though,
there was nobody.
Yeah, but out with that point, what I'm saying is people that have been into matches, you've thought this could potentially be the time when it happens. And the crowd have got behind that. But
I wouldn't think it was
behind that with Mysterio.
I wouldn't think Mysterio. I don't think Rey Mysterio could dethrone him. Definitely not. But I don't think it's a case of that his height. I think it would be more his age I'd be looking at. He's an old he's an older statesman of the wrestling community.
But rolling back 20 years and it's still the same answer.
Yeah, but roll back 20 years and Roman Reigns is a sperm.
Yeah, but again, you're getting too literally into that. What I'm saying is you roll Mysterio back 20 years to when he was a lot younger and hanging it about with the guys back then. Could a younger Ray have came in and hung up with the likes of Roman Reigns and stuff? Irrespective of the whole politics going on now with who's going to dethrone Reigns or not. He just wouldn't legitimately be a challenger. Yeah, there is, I know, the big question mark. Me and Kev had obviously been into it in the last show about the dethroning of him, but there's been multitude of matches that he's defended his title when the crowd have thought, and we've thought as fans, is this the time when it's going to happen? I don't think you could ever have that thought with a young Rey Mysterio either. I feel that everybody's got the limit. Like, everyone in life has the limit. Whatever you do for work, whatever you do in hobbies, I think everybody's got a limit. They've got a peak to what they can reach. And some people never ever reach their peaks. Like, some people never ever get to that. I feel like his peak was cruiserweight. Due to different circumstances and other things going on, he get pushed further. And I just do not see. I mean, his son can work a crowd far better than he can. And he's been in legitimately coming into the industry as a wrestler for a far shorter period of time. And even he has worked out very quickly how to play a crowd.
Yeah, but he couldn't work it. He couldn't work it out as a babyface, though.
He was still more over. He was still more. He was still more over than what his dad was when they were tagging together. People were behind Dominic more than Ray.
But I had a lot of fans that were like, they're like, we don't see what it is. They thought, instead of thinking it's going to be American Nightmare, they were thinking it was going to be Ted DiBiase Jr. Like, with how the generational things were going to go, they thought he's not the same level as his dad and never will be. It was when he turned heel, which was in the feud, ironically, with his dad, that has elevated him. And that's not just my opinion. Like, I do think that's been the saving grace for him. I think Dominic could have got lost in the mid-card shuffle. Well, see, if he was any other wrestler, if he wasn't Rey Mysterio's son, well, I think realistically he would have got lost in mid-card shuffle, no matter if it was heel or face. But because they had that angle that they could play, and the chemistry that he then developed with, the faction of the Judgment Day, has worked so much in his favor. It's been a lightning in a bottle scenario for him. Do I think that he could go on and challenge a bit higher? I think he could. Not to the level of Roman Reigns, because like you said, I think Dominic's got his limit. I think he's got his ceiling. Like, he is like up. He's like, the upper mid card, in the lower end of the top tier, if he really pushes himself in the heel capacity. But
there are some wrestlers though that never work as a babyface. You know, and I think Dom was one of the guys. He was never going to work as a babyface, but as a heel, because you know, and we've seen it throughout the years. You need your mix of heels as well as your mix of babyfaces. Then there's the guys that kind of, as you see, Mick, some of them get lost in that shuffle where they'll get cheered one night, booed another, and no reaction other nights. But Dom was only ever going to work as a heel. I think that the kind of character and the way he is, it was only ever going to work as a heel character. And he has took that and ran with it. You know, and that's the thing. It's all about taking the opportunities and running with it. Ray was given opportunities, whether I agree with it or not, and winning titles. And winning titles that I feel that he had no right being in. But he never took that opportunity and ran with it. Because it was beyond him. It was too far beyond him, and it was too unbelievable. That's why he's never had long title reigns. And this is why as well, it just now, I mean, he was out it for years. I know we're talking about how he's come in now, but he was out it for a long time. And again, fair play for coming back in and still being able to compete. But he was out it for a long time. So it's not as if he has been consistently there every single year, wrestling every single year. Now, we got a bit of time away. And granted, that every other wrestler he's had his injuries. So, you know, that's going to take its toll on him. But even taking away from now and going to back then, as I say, I just can't understand. And the reason I dislike him so much, and maybe it's harsh on him, because, you know, he does what he's told to do. You're going to go out and you're going to win the title tonight. Right, magic. Now, if your boss says to you, you're going to go and do the same job as him there, but I'm going to pay you 3 times as much, you're not going to say, no, you're not, that's not fair. You're going to say, dancer. So maybe it's harsh in having the opinion in him, but he never took the opportunities and ran with it because it was too unbelievable. As I continue to go over, he was at right place, right time. And all the pieces fell into place for the industry, for WWF, WWE, for them to do that and put him in that place because it elevated them in different parts of the globe.
So do you think that, like, even Rey Mysterio as a US champion is beyond the realms of believability? Because I personally don't think so.
I think
I think he could have a bit. I think he, in terms of World Heavyweight Championship run, US run, what's more believable, US run?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I think that's more believable, but you would never expect him to be a long running US champ. But I think him winning that is more believable upon who's going for that belt and who your challengers are, as opposed to the heavyweight.
Well, let's keep doing the scenarios then. So, World Heavyweight Champion for 3 months, Mysterio done that. World US Championship for 3 months, Mysterio. Do you think that would be a more likely outcome?
Aye.
Yeah, I think that's more believable, yeah.
So we'll jump into the next one of, well, he couldn't dethrone Reigns. We have covered that. Do you think with the way that the US title has been, you know, like for example, your Bobby Lashley's, your Austin Theories nowadays, do you think a Prime Mysterio would be able to compete with that?
I think Prime Mysterio going up against Austin Theory the way he is now, I think that would have been a great match because they've got contrasting styles and it would work in a match. But I wouldn't see them putting Ray over Austin Theory, even Ray at his prime. Just because of how much the way they've evolved Austin Theory to where he is right now. Because the whole thing with the taking the selfies and that was not working for a lot of people. And he was just annoying. And
true.
So they've got him to this character who, you know, they've got him beating people like Bronson Reed and Bobby Lashley. Now, legitimately, in a real fight, could he beat them? Probably not. He might take them to a certain point, but because of the way he is, he's so over. I think they're going to keep the belt on him for another 3-4 months, maybe.
What about you, Tony? What would you think if it was Prime Mysterio v Prime Theory?
Theory wins in 3 minutes. And I'll tell you why I think that. Because where people would maybe argue because of what Kev said there, so the fact that look at the size of Austin Theory and he's going up against your lashes of much, much bigger guys. But the character of Theory and how it's over now, but he does everything he has to win, whether it's dirty or not. So it becomes believable because by any means necessary, he'll get that win. Whether he has to play by the rules or not, he'll do that in order to get the win. So a lot of the time when you're seeing him struggling in some of these matches, you're wondering, what's he going to do in order to come away with this win? And he does everything he can to do that. Rey was winning some of these matches clean. He's winning a lot of these matches clean. That's where it's unbelievable. If the character of Rey was similar in regards to Austin Theory, where it was anything to win, yeah, that's more believable because you're using every trick in the book. You're trying to use things to your advantage, distracting referees backs are turned, you're doing this, that, and the other. That becomes believable because that can legitimately happen. Now, that's a possibility, whereas winning clean is just horrific.
Well, that brings me to another thing about Mysterio. Like, he has never been a heel in his time in WWE.
They tried it in WCW and it failed miserably, so they've just kept him as a face. They're like, we can't have him as a heel, it will fail miserably.
But do you think that's a missed opportunity for Rey? Like, he could have been like, the Ric Flair of that kind of division, where he was he still liked him, but he would do what he had to survive. Kind of think if they played it right and built that kind of into his kind of character and his story, it was like, because the whole thing could have that kind of lovable Eddie Guerrero rogue style thing where it's like, I'll do what I need to win because I'm gonna get squashed.
They tried. They did try him doing the Eddie Guerrero stuff with he hits the chair off the mat and then throws it to somebody and then lies down. And it's like, it didn't work with him. It's like, it's just a copycat of Eddie Guerrero.
Do you think it's because Mysterio looked so young? Because the rare times you see Mysterio without his mask, he does look like about 14. And that's him at, 50 now?
Yeah,
no, I mean, I think a lot of the time it's down to the writers and the creative. You have anybody. Now, the reason it didn't go down well was because it was a like-for-like copycat of what Guerrero was doing. And Guerrero had that legacy of doing that. That's what he was remembered for. Nobody then wanted to see somebody else, irrespective of being Rey or not, getting out and pretty much copying everything from there. There was certain things to do as a tribute everybody liked, but not like in that. I think creative have got a lot in that because if you build anybody right and if you play it right with anybody, realistically, I mean, there's very few people, I think, that are talented enough to be able to go out and be a proper face or a proper heel. I think it takes a certain type of person to be able to do that, along with creative and stuff. I mean, The Rock was probably one of the best at being able to do that.
Yeah.
You can get the crowd to cheer, but you can get the crowd to boo you very quickly as well. And he was one of the best at doing that. But I think in that side of it, I wouldn't criticise Rey as much because I think creative would have had a massive input on that. Had that been done differently, and if he went as a heel and it went over with the fans, they legitimately went for it, and he started everything you needed to win, then maybe bigger results become more believable. But the fact is, that wasn't the way. That didn't happen. He won these clean, and it's ludicrous.
Yeah.
That'd be like saying my gran would beat my grandpa in a fight. She's had a fucking stroke.
Well, here's one for you then, while we're going down this rabbit hole. Mysterio v Hornswoggle.
Hornswoggle.
I love how that was very much unanimous. Both of these were like Hornswoggle. But again, do you think that's down to the fact that that's how his character was portrayed?
Aye.
Yep.
It was a do what you have to survive.
And if you think about all the things that Hornswoggle's done, the people he's went up against as well.
Yeah, but at the same time, you can have that argument with Rey Mysterio, but it's purely down to how they've portrayed the character that influences how people's perceptions of him are.
Aye.
Because, again, we've still not mentioned the fact that Rey Mysterio legitimately killed someone. That kind of puts a little bit of a take on things of going, okay, well, he can't beat this guy. He can't beat this guy. He's fucking murdered someone. If that's the case, then yeah, he could beat anybody because he will do what he can to survive.
Yeah,
I think Mysterio would pick Hornswoggle up and use him as a fucking battering ram.
Yeah, he didn't murder somebody in cold blood, though. That's the difference.
Yeah, but still,
Yeah, he did need to have Superfly Jimmy Snooker.
Yeah, I mean,
allegedly. Everything is allegedly. Just treat this like Vince McMahon's mustache. Everything is alleged. But it's the same deal. Like, if you had to go down that road of, he couldn't play like a heel, I think, yes, they tried, it didn't work. Well, it worked in one promotion. Didn't mean they couldn't do it again. Like, if you went up and said, somebody had the kind of casual mindset that I had of, Ray's clean cut and he's playing like this, and you go, he killed someone, right? You wouldn't care if it was like, not intentionally or if it was manslaughter or whatever. You just go, fuck, that dude killed somebody. Instant change. You play into something like that. It's not the first time WWE did it. Jeff Hardy with his relapses and his addictions. Shawn Michaels, God's BFF. Eddie Guerrero, his past problems, which led to his lie, cheat, and steal persona. I think it was just more a case of that they were so scared of seeing what happened with WCW and it failing that they were too afraid to take the risk to see if it would work. And I think that, if that was the case, we could have been having an entirely different conversation about Mysterio. I could be calling him a prick because he's a murderer.
I mean, we could be, but it's like Toner was saying. It's like you get the creative; they want to keep him like that because that's worked for them for so long. How do you legitimately change somebody whose character has been the exact same for over 30 years?
And bear
at
in
the
mind
same time, you have Cena.
But if you bear in mind how shit he is in the mic, it then becomes very difficult to then change that persona because you then need to build him
Silent
up
enforcer.
to a point. But it's not. It won't work because in order for it to work properly for the length of time that he's been a face, there would need to be a bit of chat, a bit more about him on the mic. That's why when we mentioned Brock Hill, that's why he was so good at it. Because at the flick of a switch, his persona in the mic, he would always have the same enthusiasm, but it was the words that were coming out. Everybody was that engrossed in what The Rock was saying, that if you hated what he was saying, you booed him. If you loved what he was saying, you cheered him.
But Mysterio had for example, a Heyman, a mouthpiece, someone that could communicate for the client. And Mysterio is basically because a lot of people thought China, who we'll discuss in another episode, they were like, why is a woman the enforcer for Michaels and Triple H? And they were like, because she stands there, she's built like a tank, and she's going to do the job. If you reinvented Mysterio and had him with like a Heyman mouthpiece, someone who is bigger than Mysterio, what in a physical sense, but it could be like, and they'd be like, why is Heyman got this little guy out? Because, well, he's a little guy, and then just straight up annihilates you because he's one of those, small but deadly. It's like a fucking chihuahua.
He wasn't good enough for that.
But we never know because they never tried it. I just think there was so much missed opportunity with him.
In his in-ring ability, he wasn't good enough for that.
It wouldn't require him saying much though. It would just be, turn up.
But no, but it's not.
Lead pipe, bump, done, away.
But it's not about talking. It's about his work in ring. I don't think he was good enough or believable enough to be a character like that. I mean, you look at maybe size-wise more towards the likes of CM Punk, but you look at in-ring ability, not just in the microphone, but in actual in-ring work. He was very versatile on what he could do and had a wide range of stuff. He was a very talented guy. He could high fly. He could stand and brawl. He could play it dirty. He could win clean. He was very versatile in what he'd done. Rey Mysterio just didn't come across as versatile. It was either, flying over top ropes or jumping on the top rope or bouncing about, which is fine when you're fighting in cruiserweight.
Because when you've got them, like, sorry, on you go. Right, when you've got them doing those things against like Big Show and Brock Lesnar, he jumps over the rope, they just catch him with one hand. So there's no legitimacy to it. But like you were saying, if you've got like CM Punk or even Daniel Bryan, who had similar styles, similar size, they jump over a top rope, they get caught with one hand, they've got their kicks, and legitimately one of those kicks can take you out. Whereas with Rey Mysterio's, they're holding them like that. He can't even kick them. They've got the length. They're as long. His arm, Big Show's arm, is like near enough 3 times bigger.
Yeah.
And
again,
Rey Mysterio jumps, chuck.
Yeah. And again, like you said, like that's how you look at your hornswoggles and think different, because if you catch a hornswoggle, he bites. He'd bite.
Also, he had the added beauty of a lot of the time for points, Mr. Kennedy was coming out.
Yeah.
Or Finlay, or Sheamus.
He'd always have someone out with him. But yeah, that's where I personally think that Mysterio would always have the edge over Hornswoggle, because no matter what he did, whether he bombed or whatever, he was always his own man. No matter what, like it was him that always, with Hornswoggle you could always fall back on. There's a Mr. Kennedy, there's a Finlay, there's a Sheamus. Mysterio was always his own can. Well, I think if Guerrero had still been up,
to work with a prick.
Guerrero did. I think maybe it was more a case of nobody wanted to work with him because they were like, are we going to have to fill Eddie Guerrero's shoes? Again, I think that was probably more of it than anything else. But
or
you see, like,
had to die in order to not work with him.
Hey, we all know it was just him getting out of Dominic's child support payments. That's the only reason. And then you look at other upsets, like for example, when the Hurricane pinned The Rock. I always thought when I watched that, I was like, what the fuck have I just watched here? I genuinely did not think that. For me, that's like a Hornswoggle v Big Show. Well, just from, yes, size-wise, there wasn't much in it in like an actual physical sense, but in terms of character and stature, would you realistically expect the Hurricane to pin The Rock? No. Did it happen? Yes. What? And do I still not believe it? Yes. But do I love Shane Helms' Hurricane? Fuck yes. I think it just depends. But one thing I will say about Rey Mysterio, what the fuck is up with his tattoos? Let alone his chest. It looks like he's wearing a man bra all the time. I do not know who does his ink, but seriously, go to Specsavers. It's fucking horrible. He just looks like he's wearing a bra all the time. And the way, and as he's getting older, it's gonna sag further and further. So it's just gonna look like, real old man bra. So that's.
But if you've noticed in the past like year or two, he doesn't have like the thin singlet. It's the one that covers almost everything now, because he's older than me, so he's a bit saggy.
Well, in fairness, like, yeah, it's fair dues that everything drops. Gravity catches us all. Like, because Stoner always says, and like, when it comes to sport, Father Time catches us all. I always say, gravity catches us all.
That's thrown, huh?
Oh fuck! What? Yeah, one of the things I'll definitely be putting in is there'll be should WWE erase Bret Hart. That's gonna be one where I will fucking go to town like Rey Mysterio style.
No, it's the question shouldn't be should WWE. It's like, should we delete Bret Hart, because the amount of stuff we've done for him.
Oh my god, that's why I pushed back that video so much. I just don't want to put it up. I just don't want to put it up. I'm like, this is going up for the next video because I cannot be fucked with Bret Hart anymore. It's like anytime you guys like tag me in a post saying, oh, another Bret Hart, and I'm like, nope. It's like, this may be your channel, but I'm gonna call a fucking veto here. I'm like, the boss says no. I'm going Vince 97 on your ass.
When you're talking about Father Time, it's like Dustin Rhodes. Time's not catching up with him. He's reversing.
Aye.
I mean,
So-
he's wrestling at the capacity he was in like the 90s in his Gold Dust years.
And
I mean,
fair
his-
Sting.
I think
I
better
would-
as well, actually.
Yeah.
And Sting
Sting-
as well, yeah.
Yeah. Because everybody thought after his WWE run he was done. He even said, like, he was retired. And then he came to AEW, and now I think AEW is like the cool old people's home. Because everybody just, all the older ones seem to be getting their resurgence. I mean, you've got Jericho, you've got, you've got Goldust, you've got Sting. Even JR's been able to fight skin cancer and come back, and he's still doing some of the best mic work that he'd done in like 10, 15 years.
You get DDP showing up every now and again.
Billy Gunn.
Billy Gunn as well. I mean,
Billy Gunn's fucking fantastic.
he's older than Dustin Rhodes.
I personally think, you know how they tried to get Billy Gunn to be up against The Rock back in the Attitude Era, and The Rock
They should have
buried him.
They should have totally done that and gave Billy Gunn a run.
No,
I
I personally think it went the way it went, but I think this version of Billy Gunn is in AEW. If you transported this version of Billy Gunn back to then when he was going to be in the feud with The Rock, I think he would have went over The Rock, because he doesn't take any shit now. He's kind of morphed into his own version of Hardcore Holly, except cooler and nicer and not a prick.
I loved Hardcore Holly.
I think he's a prick, but I do respect him because he took no shite. Well, he's a prick, but he's one of those ones you'd want in your corner. It's like I always used to say to people back in the day when we hung about, and they were like, "Why you pass with Toner?" I'm like, "He's a psycho, but he's my psycho." What? He's my firecracker mate, the one that I'll stay pals with, or he's going to kill all my family. I'm only lying. Yeah, there's still plenty of time.
I now stay closer to your parents than I ever have.
That's very true. You see my parents probably more than I do.
And they don't even know.
Yeah, well, they do now. They watch this. Mum, Dad, love you, really.
Because like Billy Gunn is going to be 60, whereas Dustin is only turned 54. And Billy Gunn's still wrestling at the capacity he was in his prime in the 90s. It's like, what the hell?
It's insane.
He's 20 years older than me.
That's what drinking drugs done.
No, that's what it done
for me.
That's what it done
that for me.
No, but I mean, now that he's off it and he's sober, he's able to get back to that. But when he was on it for so long, I think that's how his face looks like my scrotum.
In fairness, I'm staying on it for so long is what happened to Road Dogg. Poor Road Dogg.
He just looks like a trucker.
He's always looked like a trucker.
No, but now he's got the belly for it. He never did back in the day.
That's not a program on Channel 5, that Ice Truckers. You know, the guys Ice Road Truckers. I could see him doing a celebrity version of that.
He'd love that.
Oh, aye. And we'd watch it. And we'd love
singing his songs.
Oh, definitely. Just have him playing "I'm an Ass Man" as he's driving in the middle of the Arctic or something. Would be brilliant. We're coming up on time, so we're going to do a very quick vote of should WWE erase Rey Mysterio. Because we know what Toner's answer is going to be, we'll go to him first.
Yes.
Right. Kev, we'll go to you.
I don't think they should delete everything. Maybe his heavyweight run and keep all the rest of the stuff. I wouldn't have a problem with that, but the heavyweight stuff was not needed. Right. It was to push the Latino fan base because they lost Eddie Guerrero.
Well, so we got one yes and one no.
To delete some, you have to delete all. So Kev's a yes. Andy?
It wouldn't matter what I say now by your technicality. It's a 2-1.
Yeah.
What? Do I think delete? No. Do I think he should have been in the Hall of Fame this year? No. I personally think that while I respected the move that they'd done, in the kayfabe style, I think that's just always going to take a shine off of his Hall of Fame entry. And I don't think that should be a case for anybody. I think kayfabe and storyline should never have anything to do when it comes to Hall of Fame. It should be straight. It should be what it's meant to be. Regardless of what you think of the wrestler, because we've had fucking Hulk Hogan inducted, we've had Sting inducted, we've had Bret Hart inducted. All kayfabe goes out.
Donald Trump.
Yeah, well, let's not talk about that. All kayfabe goes out the window when it comes to Hall of Fame. So I think it was a very cheap move to use that, and it took a shine off of what should have been a good moment for Rey Mysterio, because overall he's had a better career than most. At that point, he was in one of probably the best feuds of his career with his own son. I personally think they should have held off until WrestleMania 40, when there was potentially no storyline for him, and it could just be a straight induction, no need for kayfabe. His son could either be a real true dick and be like, "Nah, Dad, fuck off," or have the proper embrace, or be with his family. But one way or the other. I don't think so. Do we erase him? No, but I don't think the Hall of Fame should have been this year.
You would erase his Hall of Fame entry. Therefore, erasing some. So if you want to erase some, you're erasing all. Therefore, we're 3-0.
We were never going to win this.
We were never going to win against Toner, but it's my company, so majority rules. He ain't getting erased.
Majority doesn't really. 2 for 1. It's 2 for 1.
We knew it was a
half the guy's fucking career. Kev's got the guy's biggest accolades being fucking deleted, so therefore we'll just delete everything. And he's wanting to delete his Hall of Fame entry.
I never said delete it entirely. I said postpone it. Move it to.
It's already been. So in order to move it to next year, we would have had to have deleted what's just been. Therefore, deleting that.
Wouldn't have deleted anything. Wouldn't have deleted anything.
2 for 1. 2 for 1.
Well, I could maybe let you away with Kev's one, but you ain't fucking getting mine.
That's fine then. 2 for 1. I'll take that.
2-1. We'll go for it. Right. and that's bad when we erase Rey Mysterio and we don't erase Chris Benoit. Holy fuck, the internet is gonna kill us. But maybe that'll get us notoriety and that'll get the subs up, because people love controversy.
It sells tickets.
It really does, but sadly none of us can afford a ticket to Bischoff's gig.
No.
What?
I'm going.
So on that note, if anybody wants to do a crowdfunder for me and Kev's tickets to go to the evening with Eric Bischoff, let us know. We need the cash, and we'll try and get some juicy stuff for you. But let us know in the comments, guys. Guys, girls, they, them, toasters. What do you think? Of any of the points made? Do you think Toner's a bit out of line? Do you agree with Toner? What do you think about Rey Mysterio's Hall of Fame induction? Do you think it should have been have no kayfabe and maybe postponed? Let us know in the comments, because we will want to hear it. Sadly, we will be back to fucking Bret Hart after this. I've put it off too long.
Sorry to jump in here, but you're asking them what they think about my points and your points and Kev's points. I really want to know what everybody thinks about you shitting in a bucket that was used for your kids' paddling pool.
We all know what the answer will be for that. I don't know what the answer will be for the other ones. I know what the other answer will be. You're a sick bastard. Seek professional help. I am. It's too expensive.
No, there'll be people going like that. That's a normal weekend for me.
Or they'll go, I
would have just used the paddling pool.
It was outside. I couldn't make it there in time. I was up the stairs. The toilet was closer. And then so was the bucket.
Stay on the stairs. You can clean it later.
I did. But let us know in the comments, guys, what you think of the series as well. What should we carry on with the WWE Erase? Who would you want to see us debate about? And until next time, this has been Raw as Ginger. Good night.
Yeah.
Cheers.